I'm on high.
Welcome to Summit Up, your one-stop shop for all things Denver Summit FC. With plenty of side hikes into the greater NWSL landscape, women's sports in Denver, and everything you should know about the culture and community of soccer at 5280.
Summit Up is a part of the Bangarang soccer community, telling soccer stories a mile in the sky and straight on till morning. Check out our Colorado Rapids sibling show, Pidcast, and our soccer conversation series, Interrobang. Most importantly, we aim to be a collaborative human soccer show for community-minded soccer humans. So do your best corner flag slide right into our DMs.
Let's kick it. I'm Hallie. With me are my co-hosts, Kaylee and Matt, and we've got a lot to catch up on since our last episode, which was the preview of the Orlando game. So 3 games since then, including a big one at Mile High to catch up.
Quick plug for our friends at The Athletic. Tamara Griffin from the podcast Full Time came to Denver for the home opener and offered her vantage point from the press box. She was then joined by Jordan Angeli to talk through the 4-year journey to get here, incorporated past Colorado players into the day, and then our very own Hallie from Summit Up to offer the ground perspective from the Mile High match. Hallie, how was that? Tell us a little bit about that episode.
Yeah, it was great. I think they wanted to cover all angles from a historic day. Matt and I had run into Tamara in the press box at the beginning of the day. She has family in Denver and was excited to experience this weekend as well. And then, I ran into Jordan on the concourse after she had just announced the attendance on Saturday. So it was nice to hear her perspective on the game as well. And then I tried to cover from, the stands and, walk around the parking lot, participating in the tailgates, etc., to really give, I think, all angles to a big day for all of us.
Nice. Something I want to point out in the Peak to Peak, if you guys aren't familiar with local folk hero Kyle Clark, he did his weekly micro giving campaign this week in support of Soccer Without Borders Colorado for Denver Summit's inaugural home opener. The way this campaign works is that he matches the first $5 donations, $250, and then these campaigns seem to just raise buku bucks. Like, the community comes out for this. But I thought a really cool touchstone, in addition to Soccer Without Borders, which shout out to Mia, who's been a long time Summit Up fan. I've played soccer with her. She's fantastic. I've gotten to hang out with some of these kids. They're amazing. But Denver Summit, as part of this, bought cleats for every girl in the Soccer Without Borders Colorado program. So Kyle's program, the micro giving, and the additional funding is going to get to go to the actual camps and expand their girls programming. But Summit put boots on every gal's feet, and I thought that was really cool. File that under the things you love to see, and the most Colorado thing I saw this week.
That's really awesome.
Quick transfer note. We did a big transfer roundup last episode when the transfer deadline had closed for this part of the season, but there will be another transfer window in June, and Australian news outlets are reporting that Sam Kerr might be headed to the Denver Summit at the end of the WSL season. Sam previously played for Sky Blue, who is now Gotham, and Chicago before leaving for Chelsea at the end of the 2019 season. She left as the NWSL all-time leading scorer and then went on to set many WSL scoring records in her time at Chelsea. Her contract's up in May. She's recently coming back from an 18-month ACL injury. Her wife, many are familiar with, is American Christy Mewis, so the NWSL is rumored to be her next destination. No doubt she's had a very storied career so far. I'm not sure that it is exactly what I'd use my salary cap money on with her current state. I don't think she's quite come back to where she was, but there's definitely potential that she could. I personally am excited about Kostler and Thomas. I think they both really excel at things that Kerr also excels at, running in the channels behind, going 1v1 with the keeper. Aerially, I think Kostler's handled some of those aerial goals for us so far. So I'm curious where Kerr would fit into that mix, if that is something that Summit pursues, but we'll keep an eye on where this goes. Sam did take to Snapchat to deny anything is definitive at this point, but not exactly a full denial either. So we'll see where that goes. She definitely has the star power, and people will be looking to see where she comes back to in this league.
I love the way that players are that they like to say, you know, hey, let's not trust everything in the media, and yet here we are, the media being like, but you never know,
Yeah.
you never know.
We gotta get
May as
ourselves
well go ahead and
on
report on it.
Snapchat to check the
That's one that I
transfer
guess I did not know I needed to get back on. It's been a minute since I was on Snapchat, but hey, if the players are on there, I'll get on there to see what's up.
We gotta get on
You've got-
TikTok to follow the Ava Gaetino
Yeah.
injury updates as well. It looks like I'm getting all the screen grabs of the black and blue ankle, but I'm taking her use of humor on TikTok to hopefully mean that this injury is not as bad as initially feared on the Gaetino front. So yeah, we gotta expand our social media coverage.
Sounds like
there.
it. Sum it up on Snapchat, coming to you soon, I guess.
That's on you then. Snapchat and TikTok are on
Not
you.
staying off Snapchat and TikTok.
I want it to get even weirder. I want the players to start like adding Denver Summit into their top 8 on MySpace, and that's how we know transfers happen.
Okay, bring it back. If I could have a drama segment of which players have who ranked as their top 8, I mean, that would be a story I would follow religiously.
We can get super specific. We can look for like Strava runs, Zillow listings. Like we can become full transfer detectives.
I mean, I'm here for it. There's a lot of things that have been released via a Strava run. I mean, as a girl with some friends with some drama going on, you never know what you're gonna find on a Strava run, okay? And who else was on it?
An entire French airship
That's
was
how we
revealed
found
on a
out we're
Strava
there.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild. 2026. Your point, Hallie, with being totally good with Kostler and Thomas. I shared the same thing. Obviously, I don't think we'd turn down Sam Kerr if that's the possibility. But is there just a potential that there's so much momentum that Summit can reap an embarrassment of riches if we pull this off?
Maybe. So the weird thing about Sam Kerr is she doesn't qualify. So under this like new NWSL hip rule that's coming in, only has a 2-year look back period. And because she was injured during most of that period, she actually doesn't qualify despite having been the league's leading scorer. So I guess like if there isn't really a salary cap exemption, to me, it's probably an expensive hit. But maybe we have the cap space and maybe it's not a long-term deal and you see what she can do. I don't think Thomas has seen as many minutes as I'd like to see so far. So maybe there is a desire for some sort of, alternative backup while they ramp her up. I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll see. That was Australian breaking news overnight. So I don't know when she can sign anytime, I think, between now and June. So it could be a drawn out saga for now.
Friendly reminder that outside of basketball, salary cap isn't real, friends. Salary cap can't hurt you.
Raise the cap is what I say.
Speaking of caps, what about a recap?
Yeah, so I believe last time we talked, Matt and I gave mostly incorrect. Actually, I think I predicted the Orlando score, but mostly incorrect, probably score predictions for the Orlando Gotham road trip, which actually turned out to be a pretty good road trip for the Summit. So the Summit went on the road to Orlando, consistently high-performing opponent in the league the last couple years. They've got Barbara Banda, Marta, other supporting stars, and Summit dominated the start. This was kind of the debut of the 4-4-2 formation as opposed to the 4-3-3, and they did a really good job of kind of trapping Orlando in their own defensive third. And then finally, Kostler was able to put one away in the 24th minute. Second half, the momentum really shifted in Orlando's direction, and Abby Smith and the defense was really thwarting off a lot of threats from Orlando. They eventually did get one. Barbara Banda does what she does, and we ended with a 1-1 draw in Orlando. But quite frankly, I'd take that. That was the first point on the board for the Summit in this league, and the start of a decent road trip. They then went up the East Coast to New Jersey to face the reigning champions, and that game was chaotic, back and forth. A lot of chances, I think, missed for the Summit at the beginning that felt like it might really come back to bite them, but they were the first ones to get on the board in the 58th minute. Gotham then emptied their bench, which included Rose Lavelle, Esther, and Midge Purse, to try to kind of claw things back in the remaining time. But Summit persisted. Natasha Flint trapped AKB in the defense in a kind of back pass gone wrong and got the second goal. And held on from there, and that was the Summit's first win, and a pretty good statement win as far as things go in this league. So 4 points from that road trip. I'll take that, considering what I think we expected going into it.
That's so wild, because when I was listening to the game, I know those players are on the team, but it's still baffling to hear. And substitutions coming off the bench: Rose Lavelle, Mitch Burse, Esther. Like,
yeah, I think those are like obviously star players that have gotten Gotham where they are. They're also players that have struggled for fitness and injuries. So I think it's hard for Gotham to get 90 minutes out of all those players right now. So they tried to take the bet that they could get it done at 20, 30 minutes at the end, which fortunately for us wasn't enough, but we'll see what happens next time when they come to town.
I've watched that Tosh Flint goal on when playing it out of the back goes wrong so many times. I just want to set it to, what's that like meme soundtrack song? It's like, oh no, oh no, oh no, no. Yeah. Also, I do want to point out, this was the third game of the season, that Tosh Flint remains my favorite face game player on the field. Her facial reactions to everything. I think it was maybe the Orlando game when she got a yellow. She had another just like all-timer facial reaction. Just so entertaining to watch her.
We need to get her on
that
special
team's dream.
Yeah.
When
we
it
need to
comes
get her
to
on
that.
the ref cam. Have you seen the like ref cam videos?
Oh yeah.
We need to get Tosh on the ref cam.
Yeah. It sounds like we need to stress. We have so many good ideas for these funny social videos. We need to get these access to the videos of these moments and just start cranking them out.
All you, Kaylee, go for it. Start memeing it up.
All right. The thing that we have been most excited to talk about: Mile High, 63,004 fans packed the stadium. I mean, okay, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, because this was like the dream day of my life. I mean, I'm sorry, I love my husband, but this was a fantastic day. And let me back it up though. Let's talk about Friday first, because our team got to go to the press day beforehand. We got to talk to Nick, Janine, and Kaylee. I mean, we just had an incredible day the day before. Got us hyped. We got to ask all the questions. We got to listen to other people's questions and just hear their excitement. Matt had a great question asking all 5 of those people, what are you going to think about tonight as you lay your head down before you go to bed? And just to hear like their excitement, what they're thinking about. Matt, tell us a little bit about those answers that they had on Friday.
I think one of the big things preceding that question that you brought up is we were standing in the stadium looking over the field with Jen Millay, with Rob Cohen, with Bianca, with Joanne, with Shelby, and everyone had that same feeling of the night before Christmas, that same feeling of like, oh, this is real. Like tomorrow, this really happens. And the answers all kind of came accordingly. Nick, I think, was the most measured. He's like, obviously, we need to bottle the excitement, and during the game, remember that this is first and foremost a game. I think Jen said she wasn't going to sleep. She's like, what are you talking about when I lay my head down on my pillow?
I think her exact word, she goes, I don't think I will sleep. And I just respect the hell out of her for saying that, because same. That's incredible.
Yeah, I think Rob was just thinking about all of and this was like the really good holistic answers, like thinking about all the work the entire organization has put in. So great job, Rob. And then I think Janine really focused on what it means, like being this Highlands Ranch native, and getting to see like 60,000 of her community the next day. And Kaylee was just funny as ever, just super excited for the game.
Yeah.
Which then, unfortunately for her, she like woke up with apparently a stomach bug the next day and powered through. I mean, I couldn't tell on the field, but yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't catch me.
Nick might have been measured the day before, but I caught him like staring and gazing at the crowd on Saturday. So I think, he has to give that front, but I think he really soaked it in on Saturday on the game.
Nick in the post game said he was pretty conversational with the fans behind him.
Yeah. I was trying to yell at him, but he was a little far over from me.
Yeah, so that's a great segue. So translating to, we saw, I mean, just the most incredible performance that NWSL has seen from fans. The show out for the game was just insane, and I got to be boots on the ground on the field, doing socials, doing catching notes. But my gosh, was it hard to focus on actually getting notes about the game, because that was such a once in a lifetime experience for me. But I do remember this one moment where I could literally feel the ground rumble from just the fans in their collective cheer and excitement. And Abby actually talked about it in after the game at the press conference. But I remember thinking, "Oh my God, is that an earthquake?" And then I was like, "Wait a second, I'm not in San Francisco anymore. I'm in Denver." But that is how intense the rumble was, because I mean, that many people, I can't imagine, the Broncos players on a regular basis. That's their norm. But how about you guys in the stands? Because I know that me and Becky got to be on the field. I basically followed her around the whole day, which is fantastic. Love her. Becky is our photographer.
Your pictures were the same, right? You got the same angles and the same,
yeah,
the same moments.
Yeah. It's just a slightly difference in quality.
I mean, honestly, I guess we don't even really need Becky anymore, Kaylee. You got this.
No. Becky is the absolute best. We need her. Please never leave us, Becky.
Shout
but
out
Matt and Hallie,
Becky's
talk about
photos
the
if you haven't seen
stands.
them. Yeah, I was front row, kind of right between the bench and the 18-yard box, so I had a really good vantage point, could hear all the crowd noise behind me, and I just was really impressed by how engaged the fans were. Like, you could feel kind of every moment in the game with, like, the fans, the noise was very intentional. It was like a corner kick or a free kick or a good defensive play. I think I was listening to I don't know if it was Full Time or a different podcast this week that really like commended the Denver fans for cheering for like goalkeepers and defensive plays as much as the, striker and offensive plays. But I talked about it on Full Time, but I've been in Wembley for big games. I've been at Camp Nou for Barcelona women. Like, I've seen a lot of big record games, but this was the most engaged I'd really felt that fans were. They weren't just there for, a sunny day out. That was a nice little byproduct, but people were really there to support the team, and watch the game. And I really felt that with the fan crowd. There were the wave did its rounds and people, but yeah, the stomping, the banging on the seats and stuff really created this kind of cauldron, to try and pull the team through. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. But yeah, Nick was talking, I think, Thursday at Larimer Square. He was like, 60,000 people is great unless they're booing me and things go wrong. He's like, that's a lot of people to boo you. But fortunately, we never really had to. Maybe the ref got some boos, but I don't think Nick had to face any boos on Saturday. So yeah, overall, I thought the crowd was really engaged and really supported the team throughout.
There was one guy right at the front corner of the main fan section that kept getting a little bit reprimanded by the security for yelling nasty things at the other team. And he was quite literally the only person yelling nasty things. One out of 63,000 fans. And I was like, "Come on, guy, let's pull it together. Let's not have a bad rap. Let's not get kicked out of what seems to be your first NWSL game." But he definitely was having a good time and got it under wraps.
I love the point you made, Hallie, about Nick potentially getting booed. I feel like that's the most British way to take that. Like, here's exactly how wonderful this thing is, and the very specific way it could be terrible.
Yeah.
But Kaylee, that chant you were talking about earlier, I mean, pretty serendipitous, if you want to point to the hat, what the chant was. But I was up in the press box behind the glass, and the glass was shaking. We could feel everything rumbling and the noise coming through of just the foot stomping, the cheering. It was wild. I feel like we talked about this after the game, but it's so rare to realize you're in a historic moment while you're in the moment. And when those chants started coming through, like, it just really kind of keyed into to soak this up. Like, this is big.
I definitely felt the just sheer emotion of it. Like, I feel like for the first time, I felt what it meant to just truly feel emotional. Like, not happy, not sad, not anything specific, but just like the emotions of the day. Like, everyone was so connected. And we got to, after the game in the press conference, like that translated. And it made such a difference for the players, and it made such a difference for their just collective unity. And the power behind the fandom. I mean, I could talk about this all day. I just feel like it was such a incredible thing to not just be a part of, but to see how important the fans really are to a team not just getting started, but to carry that through the whole season.
Yeah, and I got the feeling, I was like, this is historic in its own right, but I got the feeling that like that's not a one-off. Like I think you could throw quite a few more games in Mile High and get that many people or close to that many people time and time again. Like it really truly felt like these people were invested. And I was around town on the weekend, you know, ran into people who knew about the game, wanted to go, their kids had their own games and conflicts. Like there's still more people that want to see and experience this team. Like the 63,000 is not like by any means the cap of that fandom in this city. And I was like, you know, this feels like something that could happen over and over again. And we're still going to kind of, you know, won't have that newness to it, but like the loudness, the collectiveness, the community, I think all of that could definitely happen.
I think we're going to give the ticketing office a real, maybe not the ticketing office, but I think we're going to give the logistics team a real issue if we have this many people trying to come to games. I mean, a question that I've been seeing circulate through, you know, fan Facebook groups and Reddit and all those kind of, you know, off of unofficial channels is, okay, if we have 63,000 fans for the opener, sure, maybe that's a little bit oversell for the everyday season game, but that's a pretty big number compared to what the stadium is projected to hold. Like, what are we planning to do for that? Which is definitely a question I would love to pose to, I mean, pretty much every single person on the Summit team and get their different answers from the business side.
Yeah, I think you know, there's a way to manage that, and there's some interesting precedences of how teams kind of, like I think of Arsenal women, they you know started doing like 3 games at the Emirates a season and then 5, and now they're full time at the Emirates. And not every game is 60,000, but like most games are over 20 or whatever it is. But yeah, I think, you know, the demand is there. I think Denver has proven that it's a soccer city, which, you know, people have been saying for the last 3-4 years trying to get this team here.
Yep.
I'm expecting every game to sell out this season at a minimum. Yeah, curious to see. I believe the stadium has some sort of expansion plans, not to 60,000, but something over the 14. So yeah, we'll have to get the latest and greatest on that. I saw they did officially close the land deal on that last week.
They
did. They can start digging over there and find room for, you know, another 40,000 seats.
Build it up. Yeah. Yeah. We're just going to be the tallest stadium.
Yeah. Straight up.
Hallie, to your point, if the Common Spirit Centennial Training Center and Stadium isn't ready on July 3rd, you put that game at Mile High for a 4th of July game, fireworks, we're breaking 60,000 easily. And then,
my
Kaylee,
gosh,
your
the pyrotechnics that scared the crap out of me when the jet flew over. I was like, wow. I mean, I know they're here, obviously, but like, wow, that was loud.
And then what I'd love to see them do at the Centennial Stadium, I've seen a lot of stadiums do before, especially for sellout games, is have a large screen outside and just have fans watch it there. I know there's not going to be a ton of green and parking space, but like they said about this game, if you build it, they will come. And I think fans will figure out a way to add to that atmosphere just outside of that stadium while we wait for Santa Fe. And then that Santa Fe Yard Stadium in the initial rendering has that whole open, I believe it's a southwest facing end, which we confirmed with, I believe it was Rob later last year, that the intention is for fans to be able to hang outside and look into the stadium through that. So I think there is a thought process to how popular they maybe realized they were going to be and how inclusive they realized they definitely want to be.
I mean, one of my
it's
favorite
tricky
things,
because you could add seats there, but you want the mountain view from the stadium, and you want the folks in the park and stuff to be able to get a peek in as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance both.
I mean, one of my favorite things about this whole team, and I think is really credit to Rob for setting the tone from the very beginning, is how intentional they have been about every aspect of the fan experience and the players and every part of this team creation. And so I have no doubt that they'll adjust, and they're predicting and running all the analysis to have the best case scenario play out. So I'm very excited to see what this actually comes to fruition looking like.
Shall we shout out some of the fan initiatives, the Tifo and the banners we saw?
Yes, absolutely. Hallie, go for it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the Tifo was unfurled. It was I talked about this a bit on full time as well. A player staring up at the peaks and the summit, if you will, wearing a 26 jersey, which I believe is a nod to the 26 debut season, not just Natasha Flint. Standing at the base of Trailhead, kind of looking at the peaks and challenges and journey to get to the summit, which is, hopefully a championship, if not this year, in the
Hallie,
future. So that
tell
was really
us,
well done.
for any fans listening, what is a Tifo, and tell us what that is for those who maybe need a little help on the education and are new to being such a fan of the NWSL.
Yeah, it's definitely more, I think, a soccer tradition than other sports, and is done internationally. But yeah, essentially a very, very large cloth type banner that usually is unfurled over the supporter section and is a nod to the team, a player, a milestone, and whatever the supporters group theme wants to theme it to be. And yeah,
how are they decided? Like, this is completely on its own. It's not related to its own to the actual team official anything. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the group usually brainstorms, symbolism and how they want to do it, creates like a smaller scale version of it, and then you usually have to blow it up and either use a projector to trace it or other scaling methods to trace and outline it for painting.
Yeah,
and then it usually requires a big space. I believe Matt here helped out with some of the painting, but yeah, it takes, I think, hours, many people and volunteers to paint it and then roll it up, unfurl it, etc. Matt, you talked a little bit about that last time.
Yeah, tell us, Matt, what was it like to paint it?
Well, I mean, you guys saw the part I did, right? It's pretty obvious, right?
Clear,
yeah.
obvious.
The gray, the black, the green,
the corner on the left side.
The sky, guys. I helped paint the sky. I said I went full Sistine Chapel on it. Come on, I laid the groundwork without telling you what the Tifo was going to be.
Oh, no, but, I see.
But Hallie's right. I think it's originally an Italian tradition. The Tifo painting, it almost becomes this kind of clandestine art, depending on which supporters group you're operating with. But I went out to Soccer Post, and everyone's gathered around painting their different sections. They did have the projector up on the wall for outlining the other sections of the Tifo. They were sewing different parts together. Real team effort, blasting. I think it was the day I was there, they were blasting the Gotham game where Esther scored, and I painfully remember that I had swapped her out of my fantasy lineup. But it just becomes this really communal experience. A lot of times it's done outside in a parking lot because of the size that you need for it and the sun that you want beating down to dry it. And it almost has this kind of community arts festival vibe to it. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
I would love to have a time lapse of that. If there was an ability to have just a camera, I don't know, we've got drones. We could do a drone and do a time lapse of that being created. It would be so cool.
Agreed. There was another sign though, right?
Another sign that got a lot of attention, especially from one of our players, was a sign for Kaylee Kurt's dog. I love niche things like this. It is my favorite thing when there is just a excitement, especially if it's around somebody's pet. Hell yeah, let's full send it. So somebody, her name is escaping me. Matt, who was it that created the sign?
Sarah Ingram. She was
Sarah Ingram. Shout out Sarah.
Also, shout out Sarah Ingram's haircut. Look at it. I think it's Soccer Sarah on Instagram. And M the barber did it, but she actually got a soccer ball. The hex is shaved into the sides of her head.
I did see that. Yes.
Do you think I could pull that off? You could say
I think,
no. You could
I think
just
we
say
should
no.
let her keep
It
the
could go on record.
signature. Yeah.
I've been trying to
I'm
get-
all for an experiment though.
I've been
I
trying to
think
work
you
up the
should get just
bravery.
this. You should get
Just
the
the
Summit Up logo. The Summit Up
Okay.
logo. It doesn't have to have the name, obviously, because that'd be a lot to, really read. But the Jags, yeah, I think you get the peaks.
Will
no
you do
problem.
the same thing?
No, I will not be doing that. I'm trying to grow my hair out right now, so a little shaved spot, would it be
Could
really
you
helpful?
get like some shellac and do like the Summit Up logo?
I will
And, like, just
get a
ponytail?
headband. I will do ponytails. I will do anything that does not require scissors or a razor to my head. That is for sure.
If we get a Halloween game, we should wear the logo like Pikachu tails.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. That would
This is what happens when Hallie drops off the.
I know.
You just completely develop.
And we're now in rogue territory. It's just Kaylee and Matt now on the podcast because Hallie had to go to work, which makes complete sense. If anyone didn't know this already, this is a great time for a little explanation. We also have full-time jobs, all of us. So if you're like, why are they cranking out content? Like, we want them to. Guys, I promise we're trying. We are working on it. We are coming up with cadences and strategy. But yes, that is now we're in uncharted territory of just Kaylee and Matt going rogue.
Especially on an early morning recording before
I know.
Either the coffee is kicked in or it's just starting to kick in.
Yeah, I'm not tired from the day yet, so I'm ready to go. But all I have to say, back to what we were talking about, is I believe his full name is Luca Dingus, is KK's dog's name. Is that correct, Matt?
I believe that's right.
And so, yeah, not that we just fangirled over Sarah and her design work this entire time, but it definitely caught her attention. And she went on Instagram to say, like, does anyone have photos of this? And Sarah was able to respond. We were able to respond and send her the photos that we got of it. So all that to say is, if you have an idea for a fun sign for a player's pet or maybe an inside joke, they do not go unnoticed and in fact encouraged, I would say.
Yeah, I think if the Sam Kerr rumors turn out to be true, we definitely need to make like a Snapchat sign or Tifo for that.
Yeah.
Done.
I will do it. If you guys sound off in the comments and tell us you want us to have a Snapchat, I'll do it. I can be the social media gal and bring back Snapchat for the sake of the podcast. It will not be a personal Snapchat, I'll tell you that right now.
To continue our dingus parasocial relationship, I did see he got to go out on a wheels only family adventure this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee and family got on, it looked like bike, skateboard, and another bike, and then Dingus got to be trailer caboose in the back.
Yeah, it looked like one of those little things that you put like human children in and like strap them in, but for a dog. And I would love one of those for my dog, but my dog is over 100 pounds, so I don't think I could pedal her that easily. But yeah, Dingus got to go out on an adventure, and I just love how much she loves her dog and how much we love her dog and love her. So it's just such a fun, like you said, parasocial relationship.
My dog Amos, I bought one of those dog carriers for the back of my bike on Facebook Marketplace. I picked it up Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. I was like, I'm taking the dog out. Put him in there. We didn't make it out of the driveway. He turned it over trying to get out. I put it back on Facebook Marketplace Saturday evening.
Wait, no,
One
Matt,
and done.
you can work on it. He just needs a little training. Like, he does not. He didn't know what was going on. He was scared. What would you do if someone just put you in something on wheels and you didn't know what to do?
I'd pedal.
Well, he couldn't pedal, okay? Anyways, enough about our pets. Moving on to our next segment. Matt, take it away.
Speaking of our pets, we play Seattle Reign in Spokane. I don't want that bad karma. I think this will be a good matchup. But the team travels to Spokane, Washington this week, where they'll face the Seattle Reign. I think it's important to note that they are playing in Spokane because of the unavailability of Lumen Field. You'll also see Seattle Sounders are not playing in that field. So this is going to be quite a different experience, as they are going to play to 60,000 less people than they played last weekend. The Spokane field, I think, taps out around 4,000. This is going to be a big culture shift. Seattle had one of the most embarrassing games this league season a couple of weeks back when they went to Portland and lost 2-0. This game was wild. This is the most NWSL After Dark game ever. 2-0 after having a 2-player advantage for much of the game. I think that first red card happened in like the 17th minute. I can go back and look, so don't quote me on that. But just crazy. And then they bounced back with 2 wins at home, including a 3-0 performance against last year's Shield winners, Kansas City Current, and a 2-1 win over Racing Louisville. They're undefeated in their temporary Spokane home, and Summit will be looking to spoil that streak.
Absolutely.
I mean, again, just to reiterate, we played to 63,000 people. They played to 3,000. Vibe shift.
I mean, earlier I think Hallie brought up, either you or Hallie mentioned, like, do you think it's going to be a disadvantage because they're used to playing with such a rumble behind them? And I mean, I feel pretty confident in our team to be able to perform, but that's a stark change to have 60,000 people less cheering for you.
I wish I was traveling to this game, because at that size, you will hear every single word Nick Cushing says.
Yes. Yeah. That would be incredible to just be like, oh, I'm all the way over here, but I got you. I can hear everything he's saying.
We got the Nick Cushing hot mic at that stadium size.
Oh, I would love to put a hot mic on him. That would be, can you imagine I'm willing to work with the press team of like, you know what, we don't have to air everything, but I mean, PR is PR, baby.
Yeah, we just put out one of those highlight reels like the NFL Mic'd Up series, where we only show the things that are allowed to be broadcast, because there definitely will probably be some colorful language. And it's just all fun. Yeah,
incredible. Social team, let us know how we can help.
All right, players to watch. Mondesir from Haiti is really coming into her own this season with a goal and 2 assists already. Maddie Mercado, former Notre Dame teammate of Ava Gaetino, also off to a hot start with 2 goals so far this season. Unfortunately, it looks like Gaetino won't be the one marking her this weekend, and she looks to be sidelined with an ankle injury. We're looking for an update after training today from Nick and the team. But to reiterate what we talked about earlier, Ava suffered an ankle injury in training the day before the kickoff at Mile High, which unfortunately caused her to miss that event. She later posted on Snapchat. No, which one was it?
It was Instagram.
TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. That's right.
TikTok.
That's right.
She later posted on TikTok a picture of her ankle. Didn't look swollen and said, "Be back soon." So that appears to be good news. When I spoke to Nick said they hadn't had a scan yet, but they are thinking it's going to be a good prognosis. So hopefully she's out much shorter than originally expected, and we get to see her soon.
It's always good to see a little bit of humor on the socials over something serious. It makes it a little less serious.
I feel like there are 2 strategies in sports. There's like serious injury post that's basically just like, God's got this. God has a plan.
Yeah.
And there's non-serious injury posts where it's like, all right, see you guys tomorrow.
Yep. Yep. And there's a little bit of mix of like dark humor in there too when it is serious and people are trying to cope with it. And it's like, I'm just going to walk it off. It'll be all right. Like, kind of deal.
Summit started the preseason and season in more of a 4-3-3 shape, but have shifted to more of a 4-4-2 since the Orlando game. That has shifted some of the preferred personnel Nick is using. So I think this is something we've all noted, where we're seeing less time for Emma Reagan, less time for Allie Brazier. The last few games, Saunas has moved back to right back for the time being, as opposed to when we saw Janine start at that left wing position before her very timely first red card in Summit history. I think Nick is showing his defensive focus despite always talking about wanting to score goals. This goes back to something Kaylee, Nick talked about in the post game with us. That how did he phrase this? He said, "When I took this job, I
Yeah.
thought I was going to turn over a new leaf. I was going to rotate. I was going to keep everyone so fresh, really swap out the minutes, really get like a ton of buy-in. And I find myself just retreating to my old ways and
Mm-hmm.
keeping my core group together to keep that
Yeah.
chemistry going. I think we
But
saw that.
yeah, we definitely saw that, but I did understand. I really appreciated how much detail he went into in the post-game press conference because you got to see the whole picture on his thought process. It's not just an old habit. It's not just, because that's the way he's always done things. He's creating a brand new team in a brand new franchise city with players that haven't played together. He's watching these relationships happen in real time and trying to foster those relationships while still introducing new players and still introducing fresh energy. And so I would never want his job, as it seems very highly critical from the outside looking in. But it gave a lot of good perspective of the thought behind it versus just, oh, I'm doing the same old same old. So yeah, it was definitely interesting post game to hear just his thought process behind that and how also the players are reacting to it.
I think he went on to say, and we kind of saw this echoed by Abby and by Janine,
Mm-hmm.
that at a point, and this was with regard to the Summit versus Spirit game at Mile High,
Mm-hmm.
at a point you're just so locked in as an 11 that all of your lines, all of your channels are in
Mm-hmm.
sync, and you
Yep.
know how to move, that you obviously want the fresh legs, you want the fresh energy, but you want it in a way that doesn't mess up the mojo, that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
kind of detract from the communication and almost
Mm-hmm.
that second nature flow that's
Yep.
happening defensively. And for a game like
Mm-hmm.
that, which did seem kind of a midfield back game for us, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
important to keep that going. But the point you brought up, Kaylee, when Nick said that by retreating to his old ways, he thinks what he's seen with this group is that it's creating so much more of a healthy competition nonetheless, for those people that want to be in that starting 11, that if
Mm-hmm.
he is getting more of those recurring casts of players in that 11, that it's pushing the players around them. And I think he even pointed out, like, he's like, it's not just pushing the newcomers, it's pushing an Ali Brazier, it's pushing
Mm-hmm.
everyone. And that's the line. He's like, that's what you see in a championship team.
Yep.
And I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was a really good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as we know, I had the best day ever on our home opener, but the another point from the post-game press conference was we got to talk to Janine Sonis and Abby Smith, and it was just, I mean, hearing them talk about how much this game meant to them and how proud they were of, obviously they wanted to win, but they made Spirit work. They made everyone else it really hard for them to get a goal into. And um I think it was one of the final questions of our conversation with them where Janine, they're somebody asked about what does this mean for women's sports in general, which is always a great question and always something that, yeah, let's talk about the whole landscape of women's sports. And I mean, her exact quote was, I think this is a testament to build it and they'll come. And I remember sitting right behind you. I was right behind you, Matt, and I teared up. I totally teared up as a woman who has watched, everyone discount women's sports my whole life as in my life stage in my career of, we don't make as much money as the men's professional. We don't do this. We don't do that. All these things, like, the shift that we're seeing right now is so, like, awe-inspiring and so motivating, like, and it's just incredible to be part of that. Even as our podcast is alongside the team, like, I do feel part of it. I do feel part of that movement that is happening, whether we're podcasting or just fans or in attendance or on the field, like, I don't know, just an incredible time. And to see Janine and Abby, like, not just talk about it, but really see them soak it up was also really beautiful. That they are getting to see and getting their flowers in a situation where they deserve it. They deserve all of that. Um, Again, I could talk about I could talk about the Mile High game over and abundance in 1,000 times all day, every day. Probably would say the same things, but it was great. And if you missed it, go look on every video on social media because the sentiment is the same, whether you are 5 or 55. Like, it was incredible.
You teed me up before we get back to that Seattle when you said if you missed it. Becky took this amazing photo of a fan in the stands holding a sign that said, "You should be here." And I thought that was the most perfect sentiment for what it feels like to be a Denver Summit FC fan right now. What it feels like to be a fan of the NWSL, what it feels like to be a fan of women's sports, and then just so specifically what it feels like to be a fan of Janine Sonis, of Devin Lynch, of Abby Smith. It's like that very palpable energy of like, you should be here. Like, I don't think there's much more that we should say. Like,
yeah.
that
And
sums
again,
it up.
if you missed the game, go to our socials and go find Becky. She has her own photography Instagram. She is incredible. We will absolutely link her photo. I mean, every photo that we have is linked to her because she is the best and incredible. If you missed it, you just look through that album and you'll feel like you were there because she did some incredible work. Some of her best, I might say.
Yeah, we'll put a. Are you just talking about the photos of you?
No. I mean, I did look pretty good. Not gonna lie.
We'll put a link up in the show notes. It's BeckyDuffyHill.com. Amazing photographer, wonderful artist, great person. Go check it out.
Not just a great artist, wonderful human. We had
so
much fun all day.
I am gonna pull us back to Seattle. Since we're talking about Queens, I'll pull us back to the rain.
Incredible segue, Matt.
but in this battle between the Seattle Reign and the Queen City of the Plains, we're gonna see who comes out with the crowd. I think you brought up a good point when we were talking about the soccer in the Mile High match, is that Summit really made Spirit work for it. There were two players at the top in Sophia Cantore and Trinity Rodman that are bona fide stars, are dangerous attackers, and Summit largely nullified them. They had a plan, they shifted them, they rally marked them when needed, and I think that's going to play so much into what we see with Mondesir and Mercado this game. A little less of the split out wide from Cantore and Rodman. We're going to see Mercado and Mondesir kind of line up in the way that we line up Kostler and Flint, I think, is kind of the 9, false 9, 10. So they're really going to be a dangerous tip of the spear. So I really felt that Kaylee Kurtz and Meg Reed kind of really stunted on the Spirit in that last game defensively. Obviously, Carson Pickett and Janine Sonis are crushing it at fullbacks. But this is probably going to be a test if we see Devin Lynch kind of shifting in that pivot in the midfield again with Sheehan to do the same thing they did to Rodman and Cantore to Mercado and Mondesir. I think this has potential. It sounds not fun, but to be another cagey, low-scoring affair. Yeah, do you want to do some game predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, go.
With which one?
The Seattle Reign, the score.
Oh, I think it'll be Goose Eggs 0-0.
Goose Egg 0-0.
Hot take.
All right. I'm not mad at that. I think like tactically and logically, that's a good score prediction. I think Nick and the rest of the team echo that they were so pissed off a goal was not scored in that match that they are going to be more offensively tilted than normal, which could be a detriment. We could see that open them up to counter to Seattle, but I think they're going to be goal thirsty. I think we saw Kostler had a ton of opportunities in the Summit game. They were really trying to work on the aerial play, getting it to her forehead to try and put on the goal. And then I thought Yasmin Ryan was just a force on the left wing. She put in, I think, 3 or 4 shots. I think they tilt the field forward and they try and get the goals. I think this is 2-1 Summit. I think the goals come from. I mean, it's hard to bet against Kostler. She didn't score last week, so that means she's going to double up. Let's go Kostler brace.
Okay.
She's averaging a goal a game outside of last game, so she's got to get back to form and continue on her Golden Boot NWSL campaign.
Well, you've got your optimistic and your pessimistic view coming to you here.
I know. Hallie jumped off, so we need Hallie to come in with like the actual prediction.
Yeah.
She's been like 90% correct on everything.
Hallie's definitely our resident expert. I feel like, and then it goes Matt, and then here we are with the personality hire. So we're working on our expertise as we go up.
All right. So Kaylee predicted the super fun scoreless draw. I went 2-1. What do you got, Hallie?
I was going to go 2-1, but maybe I'll go 2-0 and we'll give Abby a clean sheet just to be different. I'm going to put Yasmin Ryan on the board. I think she's itching for a goal, had some looks and didn't quite get to the back of the net last week, but I'm going to put Yasmin Ryan in there as a goal scorer, and then I'm going to get Kostler back on the board.
Nice. That'll pair nicely. I went with the Kostler brace, and I feel like we've been close in a lot of our predictions, and you always end up right. So 2-0, book it, guys.
All right, Abby, you're welcome for that clean sheet. All because of this.
Third clean sheet in a row. I think we got to put her on MVP status along with our Golden Boot candidate, Melissa Kostler.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. And then whomever wins gets the crown. We bring it back to the Queen City of the Plains. I think that's going to be the outcome. Any final thoughts as we head into this weekend? I think we were talking about maybe getting together and watching it.
Yes. So our team really wants to get together and watch the game together. We're also getting some strategy together. You guys have been so patient with us on getting our episodes back up. Life gets a little busy, but we love this show. We love this community nonetheless. So we'll be posting on our socials where we're going to head to. So stay tuned. You can find us on Summit Up Show on Instagram and Summit Up on Blue Sky. And just so you know, we are working on merch because me and Becky, while we were sidelined at the game, got a lot of questions about where our hats were from for good reason, because they're awesome. And
that's
Summit
from
Up,
Omar Ortega of Omega Made.
Shout out Omar. Fantastic work. So we're going to start working on that. No, we'll keep you updated. We aim to be very honest and genuine on this podcast, as I'm sure you can tell from all of our, word flubs and things of that nature. So nonetheless.
Wait, I thought we were editing all of those out.
Matt, I have seen a few of mine that you have not edited out. So I'm putting a disclaimer in now. But more so than anything, we want to get you guys the things that you're asking for. So content and merch, we're coming to you as quick as we can. Take it away,
community. Matt. We'll post on socials where we're going to post up for the game. I know 63,004 of you came out last Saturday here in Denver. Let's keep that same energy this weekend. I know it's an away game, but let's all lock in. Let's watch this game. We get a 3-week break after that where we can recharge our batteries before Summit play again. And when they play again, it's going to be at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, April 25th against San Diego Wave. So another big game. So let's dial in for this game like the team will, and then we'll regroup for 3 weeks, and then we'll get all back at it.
Yeah. And we've been loving all the comments and things in our DMs from you guys. You guys are so awesome. And you guys have asked us questions and had thoughts on content. Like, by all means, send us those things. Biggest thing we're hearing is more. So we're working on it. But if you have questions, or if you are someone who is new to watching soccer or the NWSL or a fan, and you're like, I don't know what this is. Like, I am trying my best to ask the questions to our resident experts. Like today's episode, what is a Tifo? Tell us about it. Like, why is it important? So we're going to mix in some of those questions as well throughout our episodes. But if you have any questions of your own, feel free to send them in our DMs.
Yeah, I think I'll put it on record so it forces us to do it. I've been trying to figure out the best way for fans to be able to leave voice note questions that we can just insert into the week's episodes.
I would love a weekly cadence of questions from the fans and we play the question, we answer them. Ugh, would love it. Would love it.
I personally love that. I feel like it's like the classic like call-in show vibe where you get to hear
Yeah.
the voice and the intonation of the question being asked, and then also get to, like, if you're answering it, react accordingly. So
Yeah.
we're working on more things to make this a like we said, community experience where you can corner flag slide right into our DMs.
Right into our DMs. Or for people who that's too much and you don't quite understand, just type away into our DMs.
Snap us, talk
Yep.
us, tick
Not
us.
yet. We're coming to you soon. A Snapchat. Oh my
We'll
gosh,
put
this
our
is such a
addresses up. You
classic.
can send us a letter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll get a PO box for Sum It Up. Send me a handwritten letter. Just no hate mail, please. I just can't handle it.
I mean, that's an MLS thing. I haven't seen that energy in the NWSL.
Yeah, because this is a great community.
Yeah. Well, speaking of great communities, it was so amazing to hear 63,004 of you chant what we're about to say. Should we end it like we normally do?
Sum it up.
Sum it up.
Till next time.